Freddy vs. Jason. Let's go. Back in 1993, there was a film release called Jason Goes to Hell. It had a surprise ending where Freddy's glove comes out of the sand and grabs Jason's mask. Ever since then, people have been talking about the fight of the century between two of the most famous slasher villains, Freddy Krueger versus Jason Voorhees. It took 10 years after that cameo for it to happen, but here it is, Freddy vs. Jason. So is this a Nightmare film or a Friday the 13th film? Well, it's both, but it leads more into Nightmare than Friday the 13th in my opinion. The film even starts off with a recap of all the Nightmare on Elm Street films narrated by Freddy, and we get to see his death, which is actually kind of cool to see. The recap actually gets you excited for this film, actually, because it does a great job of recapping the previous film, especially when Freddy's like, "Fuck these motherfuckers!" It's great. Anyway, if you don't know what Friday the 13th is, it's a slasher film about a big guy who died, and his mom tried to kill people, and then she failed, and then he came back as a man, even though he was a boy when he died, and, you know, the gist is, it's basic. So we all know what we came here for. We came to see two horror icons fight each other, but that's barely any of the movie. Well, it's a good chunk, and the scenes are funny. I don't know why I'm trying to explain this to you, as if you don't know who Jason Voorhees is. Everyone knows this guy. Even I knew who he was as a kid. But most of the film is dedicated to these dumb teen characters, which makes sense. Most of the films have these main characters, but they are so bad in this movie. These are some of the most unlikable main protagonists I've seen in a horror movie, and I've seen quite a few. Not a lot, but these guys are painfully bad. And they don't work in this film, mostly because they try to give each character a dumb storyline and some weird conspiracy theory shit that has nothing to do with the main plot, while also trying to connect two established horror franchises and how they exist in the same world and all their unique roles. So it's such a fuck up of a film. Like, you can't have one without the others, but especially when they try to do horror scenes on top of that. This movie really isn't a horror movie, because how can it be? Two guys fighting each other isn't really horrific, especially since both of them are the main killers in both their series, so it's a win-win situation if they kill each other, you know what I mean? So these characters here do basically nothing but detract from the plot. So what is the plot? Well, Jason is dead, and he's been in hell for a long time, which makes sense. He did go to hell in that one movie, as you clearly saw. But Freddy's able to snap him out of this by going into his dream and pretending to be his mom, because as we all know, Jason is a mommy's boy. He wants Jason to kill people for him in Elm Street because they all forgot about him. And Jason does a pretty good job at killing people. You see, there's apparently a conspiracy here. You see, the whole town basically erased all records of Freddy Krueger even existing and put people in mental institutions who have had dreams of him, just because they didn't want him to return. Because apparently Freddy works on memory power, apparently. It's kind of weird, but Freddy explains that he's immortal, basically, and they can't kill him, but they did forget about him, and in order for him to appear in dreams, people have to know about him. Alright, that's kind of interesting, so what we're going to focus on, how that worked up, how that even worked. Oh no, we're going to have the nerdy kid drink alcohol, that's funny. The dialogue for these characters are awful, they're all stereotypes. One girl's just dumb blonde character, even though she's supposed to be the main lead, she sucks. She has a dumb friend who wants to be into makeup, I guess, but it doesn't make any sense. She's like, "You're a shallow bitch, and you should get with a guy, but don't get with this guy." Like, what the fuck? Every single one of them has the worst acting possible. They give a wooden performance, and you're like, why are you focusing on these dumb characters and their dumb dilemmas that don't even matter? You're a bitch because you're stuck up, and you want a nose job for some reason. Okay. Oh yeah, you want to know how Freddy and Jason fight each other? Well, see, Freddy's chasing after this one bimbo, and he's sad because he's about to kill her, but Jason gets to her before he does. Also in this movie, Freddy has sharp teeth, which he never had before. It's kind of a weird detail, but okay. Anyway, these kids are having a party in the middle of a cornfield, and that attracts Jason, who likes to kill teens who do bad things. That's his character, if you didn't know. So he twists some guy's head. It's pretty awesome. You're like, oh man, he's gonna kill these dumb characters. That's why they're so dumb, right? Jason's gonna kill them all. And then he gets set on fire, which doesn't even affect him, and he has a flaming machete, which is actually pretty cool, and he kills a bunch of people. Now, every time there's a scene with just Jason and Freddy, it's pretty awesome. Just seeing them just brutally murder everyone there. Well, Jason brutally murdered people, because Freddy doesn't really kill anybody in this movie. He's kind of slow. Then randomly, there's a kid smoking pot in the friend group who was never introduced beforehand. Like, who is this kid? Why is there a random pot-smoking kid? I don't get it. Also, the main blonde girl who has the personality of cardboard has a boyfriend who was in mental asylum because he saw her dad kill his mom, but he didn't actually kill his mom. It was Freddy, but he's acting suspicious about it for some reason. You know, he's holding a knife. I don't get it. Why is the dad a villain? Like, what is with this pointless red herring? You already have two serial killers in the movie. Why do you need a fucking dad villain? I don't get it. Is the dad in on the conspiracy theories, or he's also a killer? But then they say, no, he didn't, but he had a knife in the dark like a dumb bimbo. Because she fucking is. All these killers are fucking stupid. I wish they all died. I want them to die. So Freddy does kill one guy, this guy. He was an okay character, so of course he's going to be the one that dies. So there's like one cop who doesn't go along with the other cops because he's new, I guess, but he has this weird face where he has mouths open all the time, and he's very a pointless character, and yeah. It's a shame too, because this film has an interesting concept of them trying to forget about Freddy and how he can only return and people remember him, which is actually an interesting idea I like, but it's so heavy-handed in a film that has so many other subplots, it's pointless. Also, these people are on the run, but this guy who's a new cop is able to find them because they have obvious band, but the other cops can't find them. Makes perfect sense. Hey look, they rock at the Coke sponsorship from the last Nightmare 2. Isn't that swell? Those whole scenes to give an info dump on all the characters. Like, somehow this one girl who's acts dumb as a brick, for some reason, like, yeah, their weaknesses are fire and water. What? So apparently they both have a weakness. Freddy's weak to fire and Jason's weak to water. Which I guess makes a little sense. I don't know if Jason really is weak to water, but Freddy's been burnt before, so I guess it doesn't really matter to him. Like, okay. And the fact that she's randomly comes as influence just by hearing about this how they died, well, they must be weak to that. Like, how would that make any sense to them? Whatever, it's stupid. They easily break into the security office, by the way. They break out of it easy and break into it easily. And it makes perfect sense. But then the guy gets high and starts seeing CGI crap. Yeah, this film came out in 2003, so of course all the effects are CGI, which is unfortunate. They don't look that great. It makes you miss the practical effects of the early Nightmare franchise. So an hour in, Freddy and Jason finally fight after all that bullshit, and it is a very weird fight. For one thing, Freddy has all the control in the dream world, so he makes Jason a pinball machine after thrusting his cock in the air. Like, what the fuck is this scene? So then he learns he's weak to water, and using this he turns into a little baby. Of course, Freddy starts fucking him even more. It's pretty funny, actually. Freddy is a bastard. You gotta love him. Anyway, they go to Crystal Lake in order to get Jason the advantage, I guess. I don't know why he needs to be there, but whatever. They say it's to give him an advantage, but all it really does is just let him stay where he usually is, rather than him follow them, which makes sense, but they act like, oh, he's getting an advantage. He doesn't get an advantage from that. What are you talking about? Also, here's a flashback of the dad really trying to kill the mom here, but no, it's Freddy. It makes no fucking sense. So yeah, Freddy's in the real world now. They dragged him in the real world. It's actually the very few times it actually happens in the franchise, believe it or not. It happened in the first movie, and the sixth movie, and now this movie. Then the one girl who I can't stand starts insulting Freddy, and it's a really weird scene. She calls him the F word, which is really weird to hear in a movie, but okay. And it fails miserably. This scene made me cringe when I saw this when I was like 12 years old. Like, this girl thinks she's hot shit, but it was fucking lame as shit. Even Freddy's like, what the fuck are you doing? And then she just dies in the kind of lame way possible. Jason just throws her against the wall with a machete. That's not how machetes work. Should it stab her? Oh well, she's dead, and I'm happy. Unfortunately, none of the other characters really die here, but we get to see a fight scene between Freddy and Jason, and it's basically like it's a wrestling match. It's ridiculous, it's kind of dumb, but it's what you came to see, right? Two guys fight each other. It's kind of weird, because Freddy doesn't usually fight people, he just kind of fucks with them. What's cool about this scene is that Freddy gets to use Jason's machete against him, and then Freddy uses Freddy's claw against him, which is a really cool shot to see. Unfortunately, the dumb girl who's a terrible actor is the one who chops Freddy's head off, even though Jason probably should have done that, but whatever. Yeah, Freddy's dead. Again. Then Jason sinks underwater. I guess again. But, uh-oh, it turns out that both of them are alive. It looks like Jason won, but then Freddy's head comes alive. Gives the audience a little wink. Freddy vs. Jason is just an awful schlocky film. It gives you what you want, but also a bunch of bullshit in between. It's also the last theatrical film appearance of Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger, which sucks because they only got one film left in a shitty remake. Because the main characters are so unlikable and annoying and terrible actors, you don't want to watch this movie. Just watch the clips of Jason and Freddy fighting online and you get the whole gist of it. There are pretty much no scares in this film. There's lots of gore, but gore doesn't equal scary. A lot of terrible human characters that you wish died earlier and you'll show less of them because they're so uninteresting and so unlikable. Overall, just don't watch this crap. Alright, so that's pretty much it for this film series. We got one last film tomorrow, the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, so I'll see you then.